Hello everyone. So this is the first video of Ethics 2024 paper discussion. So today we'll be mostly focusing on how to approach the quotation-based questions. So before going ahead, I know already almost all of you might have seen the 2024 paper. It was quite a challenging paper. Many of you have written the replay program and we had extensive discussion, face-to-face discussion with you. Now let's go ahead. Prima facie the paper looks quite difficult. Now how to approach this paper? Whether for a 2025, we are not somebody here sitting here to predict what is going to come in 2025. It can come a more application paper, it can come a go back to basics paper. From ethics perspective, from ethics answer writing or ethics mark scoring marks, there are certain way of thinking, way of approach you should adapt irrespective of what kind of paper comes. Even if a difficult paper comes, at the end of the day, it's a relative examination, difficult for everyone. So what you need to adopt, if you follow the fundamentals, if you try to apply what you have learned, there is no way stopping for you from scoring above average marks. So this is the whole purpose of this particular session. So this particular video, I have tried my best to not focus on giving you a certain piece of content. There is no dearth of content in today's time. But what you need to take out from this video is how to approach questions, how to approach application questions, how to approach quotation-based questions, how to approach questions from different parts of the syllabus. What are the things to keep in mind when we are attempting case studies? You have a clarity on this, if you have a clear picture on what exactly are you doing on this, what exactly are the demands of this paper, that is where the real change. If you speak in terms of marks, the change from 90s, 80s and 90s to 120s, 130s, 140s, the whole change is lying in bringing in a specific thinking framework to your answer writing. Mains, especially if I speak, anybody for ethics, I have start giving them examples. There is no dearth of it. You go to the market, you will see huge number of materials dumped with examples. Now, what's the problem with this material? It become overwhelming. Recently, I have been trying to learn a few subjects, which is like normally which I don't teach, and sometimes it overwhelms me. How can I remember all this data? How can I remember all these scientists or names? How can I remember all these arguments? Now, the same happen in today's time, not just for ethics, for other subjects also. We already are living in a time of quite information overload. Now, how to filter what we exactly need for the examination, what we exactly need to write in the examination out of this. This is the whole purpose of doing these videos. This is the whole purpose of having these discussion videos. On that pretext, let's go into it. Now, let me start with this person in my left side. I know many of you might have seen his videos, might have attended, or at least seen his videos in YouTube or some other platforms. Recently, I got to see one of his video, why matters, or start with the why. He already has a book on this particular topic. Start with the why. Now, this is something I find quite very relevant from a aspirant perspective. Quite very relevant. I have seen students coming up with a number of complaints, starting with, so this is too much. It's a 2-year process. I'm going to write mains 1 year after this. How can I have focus each and every day out of this? I have ups and downs. I have bad days. I have tendencies. I have anxieties. I have families issues coming from this. There are this whole preparation of UPSC. It's very time consuming, and all of you are coming up with leaving something else. We are all sitting with a huge opportunity cost, and it is in this moment why the importance of why matters. The whole book or the whole TED talk, it's all about this importance of understanding why. We mostly speak from an organizational perspective. From a student perspective, it is very important to keep himself fairly motivated and positive in the process. You should have a very strong why you are exactly doing this. And the importance of why doesn't end there. You go one step ahead. You know, a lot of students who change their approaches in mains. while a lot of other students fail to make any significant improvements in mains one after the other. Why this is happening? This is happening because it is only those who understand why they are not scoring good marks in mains that matters. They are able to make the changes. If I speak about what and how, what you need to clear prelims, what you need to do to clear mains, almost every student know this fact. You have to revise multiple books, you have to write argumentative answer, you have to write with specific data, facts, examples. If I ask you ethics, you also have your own fair idea of what exactly is to be done to score very good marks in ethics. And how it is to be done. You have to write test series, you have to write XYZ other things, you have to get feedback, you have to get your answers checked. These answers, there is no doubt of it. Every student knows this. Now, then, despite this, why it is only some students is able to transform themselves, make substantial changes in their approach to answer writing, which ultimately lead to substantial changes in their marks in the mains examination or their selection, while others continue to remain in this cycle. One big factor for all of this is understanding why. Questions start with whether you can clearly answer why you are not getting good marks in prelims or why you are not getting good marks in mains. This answer cannot be a generalistic answer. This answer will be highly personalized. This answer you should ask yourself. Have you done justice to the subject? Have you been lazy? Have you been not written enough? What? Be ruthlessly truthful and find your why. Why exactly are you failing in examination? Why exactly you are not able to score? And it is only at this base level we can expect to make any improvements. If you're not clear at this level, there is nobody can help you. There is no teacher, no coach, no program, no answer writing can help you if you are not clear about your base. To some extent, this was what the whole purpose of having our face-to-face discussions. I think many of you have better perspective on why exactly are you not able to score good marks in ethics. So this is, and the importance of why. It is not ending here also. In preparation, in how you should prepare, how you should read particular subjects. Here also the why is the most important fact. If I start reading examples, there is no end to it. There is no way I'm going to, even if I spend next decade on reading ethics, there is no way I'm going to remember each and every examples in ethics, each and every arguments in ethics. The only thing I can do is to have a clarity on why. Whatever I'm preparing, say for example, if this is a much broader picture of why, this is a particular book I was stating, start with the why. Now, so what in preparation also, the why matters. Prepare ethics with these in mind. Why, when we study whichever the topic, whether it is human values, whether it is public service values, why integrity matters. People trying to focus a lot of importance on what exactly is integrity. It's no like confusion in this. Integrity is something which having a strong moral principles and consistently upholding to your certain values, but that is very limited. Focus when you are preparing, when you are reading, focus on developing your why answers. Find 5 to 7 and arguments specifically why integrity matters. If it is in a public service, why integrity matters in public service, why accountability matters, why transparency matters, what are the benefits it is bringing into the table, for whom these benefits are being assigned to. Keep a very strong focus on your why. This is where you can bring a lot of direction to your answers. You can filter out extreme from a huge dearth of content that is available in the market or in the internet. You can filter out 5 to 7 arguments. This is why integrity matters. Now, doesn't actually matters whether you remember the example or not. It is as simple as that much to generate examples in the examination itself. I will show you. You might be thinking that is it actually possible, but I will show you how much easy it is if you exactly know what to be written, how to be approach different questions. So first, let's start with this quotation-based question. any answer writing, whether it is quotation based questions, whether it is section A, section B, whatever it is, there is one thing I'm very, very peculiar about. That is, start with understanding the demand of the question. Every question that is coming in the paper has a very, very specific demand. It comes with a specific demand. And only if you're writing answers in that line, you're going to get marks. I'm not saying you have to write exactly the same points as the examiner demands, but there is a certain line of argument through which you should present your answer. Within that, you can say the length and breadth, you can have your innovation, you can have your skills of presentation. But it is very important for you to clearly understand what exactly is the demand of the question. I have seen many approaches to quotation based questions. Do it like an essay, do it like a supporting and counter argument to the quotes. Most of these approaches I find absolutely rubbish. Let's break down, let's bring a new concept to answering these quotation based questions. First thing, understanding clearly what is the demand of the questions. Given below are 3 quotations of great thinkers. Not many aspects to pick from this. What do each of these quotations convey to you in the present context? There is 2 things which I am very much interested in the second sentence. One is you. What does this quotation mean to you? That is clearly being asked. What does this quotation mean in the present context? So these 2 elements you should bring into your answers. The more elements of you bring into your answers, the more elements of present context you bring into your answer, I can grant you more and more marks. Beyond that, if you are writing something else, even the counter perspective, not completely against writing counter perspective, but this is not exactly the demand of the question. Even if you have to write it to fill the pages or to bring different arguments, write it in a withheld manner. Don't give a 50% allocation. Give it as minimum 2 lines, 3 lines, 1 paragraph of counter argument. Majority of your answer should be, what does the idea of the quotation mean to you, and what is the idea of the quotation mean in the present context? Here you should diversify, bring out the different elements. I hope you got. This is our approach. Now let's go ahead. Let's try to apply this on one particular question that is asked in 2024. See the first quotation question. Learn everything that is good from others, but bring it in and in your own way. Absorb it. Do not become others. That's Swami Vivekananda's quote. Now, what first thing to do? Most important part, understanding the meaning correctly. If you misinterpret, I have seen students misinterpreting the meaning of the quote. So that is like you are like completely removing yourself from getting any decent marks if you are misinterpreting the idea of the quote. And many of the times quotes are not that much complex. Their idea is easily visible here. And in understanding the meaning, you also try to split the meaning of the quote. So understand the meaning and try to split the meaning of the quote at least in 2 dimensions, so that our generating arguments, generating points become much easier. For this quotation, what I can say, learn everything good from others. So this is the first meaning of the quotation, learn good things from others, but bring it in and in your own way. Absorb it and do not become others. What is it saying? Saying about learn good from others doesn't mean that you copy paste. You become a copy of the other person. Preserve your individuality, preserve your originality. This is the meaning. Learn and plus second meaning is preserve your individuality. These 2 are the meaning of the quotation. Now, if you can present this meaning of the quotation with some incidents from the lives of Swami Vivekananda, you can write that kind of introduction. But many a times you cannot do this. If you cannot do this, write a very plain introduction. This quotation is speaking about 2 things. Learn good things from others. Do not become others. That means preserve your individuality. Your individuality, your originality matters. This much can you do. What I have done, I have interpreted just the meaning of the quote and split it into 2. Now what you are going to write, learn good from others. That is our first heading. Why learning good from others is important? Think why. why learning good from others is important. Now, how, for whom it is important? One is for you or individual. For individual, why learning from others is important. Second, we have present context. Why in the present context learning from others is important. This much if you can think, your answer is done. Why you should learn from other people, why you are preparing for the examination, why you ask to seniors, why you ask to toppers, why you read toppers or watch toppers videos. Because we don't need to make the mistakes they did. We need to get a better clarity, better perspective, better understanding of reality. Why we need to learn from others? Because it makes our own progress much faster, much easier. It prevents us from making more mistakes. How simple is it? Why is learning from others important in the present context? Think from the perspective of development. We speak about Chinese export-led model. Now, we are a similar country who is going a similar model, or you can say a similar pathway as China. What is advantage before us? Because we have already seen what China has did good, worked, what China has didn't work. We have now the luxury to select our developmental model. So we can learn from China, we can learn from other countries. We can learn not just from China, from other countries. India is currently exporting its digital architecture like Aadhaar, Jamp Trinity. Other countries is trying to learn from India because it has applications in other countries. It has application in African countries. UPI, which has much global level applications, and a lot of countries are coming forward to adopt it. So, security perspective, we have seen a lot of wars is happening. We have seen you might have seen these pagers getting blasted in Hezbollah in Lebanon. Now, this is a new kind of challenge. India is a country which exports a lot of its electronic equipments. What happens if tomorrow our pagers or our electronic equipments with police, with security agencies start blasting? This is not a threat that is for Lebanon. This is maybe tomorrow a threat for us also. So we should be prepared. Our security agencies should be prepared. Technological threat is becoming a reality. Learning from others, technology, companies, we are like advancing in semiconductor businesses. We are like targeting of a 500 billion exports of semiconductors by 2030, and that's very huge. And how this happens? It doesn't happen. India is not reinventing the wheel. India is adapting what worked in other countries, whether it is the US, whether it is in Taiwan, whether it is in Vietnam. What helped the electronic industry to boom in these countries? India is adopting their strategies, even the PLI scheme. That is an adaptation of what worked there. How many points we got? We got enough number of points and enough number of examples. Now let's move on to the second idea. That is, do not become others. That is, individuality is important. Why individuality is important? We all are different. We all live in the same society. We all have different forces of society acting on us, but doesn't mean that we all think alike. Our individuality, our originality is our identity. It is our source of happiness. This is something defines us. It is a source of strength for us. A lot of personal aspects you can relate with your individuality, your originality. Going ahead, in the present context, why individuality is important? Because suppose we are speaking about subsidy-led exports. Subsidy-led exports worked for China. It doesn't mean that the exact same strategy worked for India. We are a different country. We still have there is no scope for innovation. UPI works on digital technology. All the base technologies of UPI, you look at this, most of these technologies are developed in other countries, whether it is QR code, whether it is QR code reader, whether it even the financial architectural base, it is developed in other countries. But the whole as a system, we can add an element of innovation into it, and that made a huge difference in the lives of billions of people. that made the financial, you can say, financial access much easier in India, digital financial access much easier in India. So innovation, scope for creativity, and we have a cultural system, something we speak about, say Singapore. How Singapore grown, that Singapore has grown as a city. It has been controlled like a company by its monarch or king or its leader. Now the same system, if you implement in India, there will be a national protest tomorrow. So this is something which will not, even though it is very successful, Singapore is one of the highest income countries today, one of the few countries who came out of this middle income trap. But it doesn't mean what worked for Singapore, we can just adopt it. We have different cultural pathways. We think democratically. We cannot suppress a dissent in our country. We have freedom of politics. We have freedom of dissent. We have freedom of opinion. These values are integral for India, and we cannot compromise on these even in the name of development. So something we, again, what is important is Indian context, Indian situations. Here also, how many dimensions we have developed. In the whole answer in the examination, you just need to develop 10 points. Means 5 points here, 5 points here. That is a super good answer. Now, if we have a structured thinking, how easy it is. You get a quotation, you take the meaning of it. Your introduction will be nothing but this quotation says this and this. Split it into at least 2 dimensions. If you are able to split it, you cannot sometimes split every quotation into 2 dimensions, that's okay. But at least 80% of the quotation that is being asked, you can easily split. And now if you can able to split into 2 handles or 2 ideas, then the whole task is finished. Now your only purpose is to think why for each of these 2 ideas, why this idea is important, for whom, for you, for an individual, why this idea is important, for in the present context, why this idea is important. Now link with everything you know, what you read in GS1, GS2, GS3 optionals, newspapers. You will get more than enough examples. What you learn is this thinking process. Practice on this thinking process. Implement this thinking process in the examination. That will fetch you marks. Not by having 100 examples is going to fetch you marks. Learn the habit or learn this art of bringing argumentation. Have a base structure and strengthen your framework. How you can strengthen it? Practicing it for multiple different types of quotations. Whether this works, take last 10-12 years PYQs. Apply these frameworks in everything. I have applied in almost every PYQs that is being asked. And for each and every question, I can guarantee you this approach works. It's not something which I have invented for this particular question. It works for each and every PYQs. And this is the one of the most effective, easily adaptable frameworks. Comparing to all other approaches I have seen, which is supporting and countering the quotation, which is like thinking of the quotation as an essay. Many of these are absurd. It keeps students in a state of confusion. And they try to maximize whatever benefits they're getting out of this. Come out of this problem, like come out of this mindset that this quotation-based questions is a challenge. Only thing you have to do is split the idea of the quotation and answer why. Now let's do it for another question. This is the second question of this 2024 paper. Faith is of no avail in the absence of strength. Faith and strength both are essential to accomplish any great work. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. What is the meaning? The first sentence is the first idea, the second sentence is the second idea. What is the first idea? That is, faith is of no avail in the absence of strength. Without strength, simply having faith is no good. That is the first idea. Second idea is, if you want to have success or some great achievements, you need faith as well as strength. You need faith as well as strength. Both of these are essential. So this is the second idea. We got 2 ideas, we got our introduction. If you can link it with any of the experiences of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, great. Otherwise, don't do this. Now, what we already wrote the introduction. In body, what you will be writing? Faith no avail without strength. Without strength, only having faith is no good. Why it is no good for an individual? No, you need capacity to change. If you want to achieve something substantial in life, you need strength. You need hard power. You need tangible skills. And that is very much important. Missing opportunity, passivity. You cannot take action if you don't have strength. So this is for individual. In the present context, if you don't have strength, you are not going to have progress. Nobody is going to listen to you if you don't have strength. Why we are building military? What happened to Tibet? Why Tibet was such easily acquired by China and brought into this one China system? Because Tibet doesn't have strength to withstand this China's aggression. What even India is doing in its Indo-Pacific policy, we are following a counterbalancing policy. Why we are doing again this? We are balancing the strength outgrowth of China by bringing similar thinking countries. Quad is one of the best examples for this. Do you get the idea why we are trying to build strength in diplomacy? We are trying to build strength in military. Economically, we are trying to build strength. Strength gives us assertion. Strength gives us capacity to take action. Strength gives your credibility to your faith. Without strength, whatever you speak is idealism. Even in a rough note, why Jawaharlal Nehru's ideal politic failed. In 1962, when China attacked India, why the ideal politics failed of Jawaharlal Nehru? It failed because India at that time doesn't have the strength to foresee China's aggression. India doesn't have the strength to withstand when China attacked India. It is after this 1962 war, you can see a transformative change in India's approach towards China and security. We developed this Laughing Buddha project, nuclear project. We started investing more on military. Simply speaking without having power is not going to work. It is simply adding to the rhetoric in this world of diplomacy. Second part, faith and strength both are required for success. For an individual, why faith and strength is important? Because faith is also important for us. Because it gives us confidence. It gives us motivation, resilience, willpower. All this require faith as well as strength. Strength to continue despite facing challenges. Why we celebrate Abraham Lincoln? Because he, after failing series of challenges in life, whether it is losing elections, whether it is losing his wife, whether it is failing in business, despite the series of challenges, he have shown the strength to continue. He have shown the faith in his abilities, and that brought him at the helm of America in the time of civil war, and he can hold the country together. Why we celebrate APJ Abdul Kalam? It is not just for the kind words he has been saying when he was president. We celebrate APJ Abdul Kalam because he started from such a humble background. He faced difficulties. He was a newspaper boy when he was young at Rameshwaram, and from there he raised ladders to be the president of India. He stood up for values, even as a president. Why he celebrated? Because he sent back bills passed by the parliament. He asked parliament to review the bill. He actually put people's interest as a priority. Bring all these elements into your answers. Why role models? Lot of role models you can see integrating the elements of strength as well as faith. Economy, why we need strength as well as faith. We need optimism. We need ground reforms in economy. Social justice. Conclusion, I have not spoken in last question about conclusion. It can be about a futuristic vision, like India as a superpower in this question. Here we have concluded using another quote by Rabindranath Tagore. So another quote you can say use, words of Prime Minister or any famous person you can use. any particular vision you can use, even way forward like conclusion also you can put. That means you are adding what steps to be taken in this particular regard. Third question, sorry, third question of 2024 paper. In law, a man is guilty when he violates the rights of others. In ethics, he is guilty if he only thinks of doing so. Immanuel Kant, very famous quotation by Immanuel Kant. So what is our first purpose? Understanding the meaning. What is the meaning of the quotation? What is given in the two different sentences? The first meaning is guilty in law when rights of others are violated. Second, guilty in ethics if he thinks of doing so. Second, our arguments start with understanding, giving answers for why. Now, sometimes this happens that you got two ideas, but one idea is dominating than others. Here, the second idea, guilty in ethics when he's just thinking of so, thinking if he thinks so. That is a dominating idea of this code rather than the first idea. So you can make this differentiation. You can give more arguments here in the second idea and lesser arguments here. That doesn't take away the merit of what the process we have been discussing. So next we have to answer the why. Guilty in law when rights of others are violated. Why? Because what is law? Laws are standards of the society. Standards of the society, we need evidences against the other person. We can only, law came into picture only when tangible mistake is being done, tangible violation of standards of the society is being done. Societal order is based on rights of other people. Rights of other people in today's societies are considered as one of the most important elements, and this importance is being reflected. That is, you can have as much as freedom, as much you are not violating the rights of other person. Enforceability, because if we make laws based on, say, thinking or values or harm principles, it becomes very difficult to enforce the law. It becomes very confusing. It becomes very subjective to understand and interpret laws. So laws has its own limitations. Laws has its own purpose. Laws have its own bounds, that is bound by action, evidence. Whereas when we comes to ethics, why it is guilty if it is thinks of doing so? Because if it thinks of doing so, then if you are thinking of, say, stealing some money, now we are doing a morally corrupt practice. We are morally corrupting our character. Now, if we think so, he is having wrong intentions. Most of our deontological ethics, the whole school speaks of intentions. So we are like inculcating a wrong intention in ourselves, which is eventually corrupting our moral character. Virtue ethics, that is moral character, that is coming into picture. Deontological ethics, that is intention, will, that is being questioned. Potential for harm. Today you are not stealing, but maybe it can come out tomorrow. So this is like a ticking time bomb. If you are thinking something wrong and today you are not doing it, doesn't substantiate your position. Respect for others is being violated. Even if you are thinking some harm for others, that means you are disrespecting the dignity of the other person. Categorical imperative, that is the principle of deontological ethics. Whole speaks about this. Any action can only be substantiated if it can be a universal law. Now, thinking wrong cannot be universal law, though it violates the principles of categorical imperative. So here I am in this question, I have made some differentiation. I have been categorized into you and present context. So some question, if you are not able to differentiate between you and present context, go in that direction. There is no harm in this. Still our framework is valid. What we are trying to do, splitting the idea, answering the why. You can easily get enough arguments required to write a 10 marker. So I hope you can write your conclusion of obviously with another quotation. Hope you got a clear picture on how to approach quotation based questions. Now apply this on 2023 questions, and I want you to send these answers to me. Reach out at the Kalam IAS. You can get these numbers from the website or Telegram channel and send me the answer. Try to apply this technique we have learned and try to answer these questions and send me the answers. Then we can discuss what more inputs, what more areas you should need to work on. So again, this is a values to prepare section. Like if you look at the last 10, say 10, 11 years question papers, if you analyzed what type of questions being asked in ethics, you can pinpoint in all the quotation based question. These are like say 14 values on which questions have came. So prepare why element of all these values, and if you are clear on the why, if you can dimension, if you can bring why this value is important to you, why this value is important in present context, if you can open 5 arguments combining each of these for each of these values, mostly your work preparation for quotation based question is over. Then simply practice on different types of quotations and make adaptations and perfections and optimizations to your answer writing. So that's all that is required. These are different values which is being divided under personal character, mental, emotional well-being, interpersonal and social skills, negative values. So in these, you can note down these values, you can prepare these values, and this is how you should prepare, and this is how you should approach quotation based question. On that note, we will call the end of this particular video. That's all for now. Thank you so much.